So last lecture we have discussed about wavelength division multiple access protocol, and today we are going to discuss wireless LAN protocol. So one thing is to be noted that in all this protocol that we have studied from last few lectures about this uh, MAC sublayer, we are not using the acknowledgements, right? Because the for collision detection and collision avoidance, and after all, what we want? We want that the message should not be collided, right? So, in order to your channel make available, there should be less number of messages, right? Those are going on. So to fulfill this purpose, they are not using the acknowledgement. So today we are going to discuss wireless LAN protocol, and our protocol is multiple access with collision avoidance. Before going towards this protocol, let us see what kind of problems we can encounter in the wireless LAN. Right. So, suppose I have some devices A, B, C, and D. These are the four devices, right? And they can communicate wirelessly, right? So if one device is communicating to another device, and if there is a third device which is sensing the communication going on between two devices, the third device will not try to communicate with those devices, right? So this thing we will be accepting. So this is the prior assumption that the third device will not be try to communicate this the devices, right? So here we have two problems. One is the hidden station problem, and the second one is exposed station problem. Right. So let us consider that device A is sending message to device B. Right. So there will be some kind of communication which the other device will be able to sense, right? So this is the radio range. So from A to B, this is the radio range of A and B, right? And here this is the radio range of A only, right? And this is the radio range of B and C, right? So here you can consider that the machine A is transmitting, right? So if I consider the communication between A and B, right? So this transmission, the device C will not be able to sense this transmission, right? So what can happen, that at the same time C will try to communicate with B, right? But this transmission will be failed, right? So this is called hidden station problem, because the device A is hidden for C, right? So device A is not there in the radio range of C. A is actually communicating with B and B is not free, but C will consider B as a free, right? So that is called hidden station problem. Now Now suppose B is trying to communicate with A. Right, so there will be some kind of waves or some kind of transmission that can be sent uh, besides B, right? So now B is communicating with A and A is receiving some message from B, right? So what C will assume that yes, some kind of transmission between is going on between B and A, right? Yeah. So what a C will assume that there is some kind of communication going on into this channel, right? So C will sense the transmission and C will not initiate any kind of transmission because some kind of transmission is going on into the channel, right? So C will even not try to send to D, right? So that is called exposed station problem. क्योंकि B का ट्रांसमिशन चल रहा है, the C will assume that transmission is going on somewhere in the channel, right? So that is because C will not try to send message to D. Now what we have in our multiple access with collision avoidance, so before sending a frame from one station to another, it will send a request to transfer. So this is a small frame, or you can say a single bit, or you can say let us write it a small frame or short frame, right? So first, if A wants to send a message to B, first of all A will send a request to send to B, right? And what a B will send, B will send a clear to send message to A, right? So let us see the scenario. Suppose I have two machines A, B, and I have some C, D, and E, and if this is a range of A's transmitter, and if this is a range of B, so I can say B transmit range, right? So first A will send request to send frame to B, right? So C will sense that A has sent some request to send a message, right? So C will not initiate a transmission, right? And here what a B will do, B will send clear to send frame to A. So here D will send clear to send message and it will not initiate the transmission. And E will sense both of the frames and E will also not initiate the transmission. So before sending the actual frame, suppose B is sending something to somewhere else which is not inside the A's transmit range, right? But because it is sending a request to send frame, B will send clear to send frame, and after that only A will be able to send the actual message to B. So your actual message will not be wasted. So because we have request to send and clear to send mechanism in this, generally we are not encountering any problem. But despite of all of these precautions, collisions can occur. How collisions can occur? Suppose suppose I have two stations and both are sending request to send together, right? So the collision will be there, right? And your message can be lost. So the transmission will be unsuccessful transmission. So one of your device will wait for a random amount of time and try to send it again, right? So they will be using the exponential bake-off algorithm to wait, right? So suppose A is sending and same way B is sending a request to send and the message is dropped, then A will send for some amount of time and then again send the request to send to B. And from this point onwards, so this is called as MACA, right? Your multiple access collision avoidance, right? And from this point onwards, they have introduced uh, a new protocol, or you can say a little bit of change in this MACA protocol with a wireless protocol, right? So that is called MACAW. So they have introduced acknowledgement, right? Because at this stage, after sending a message, your sender will not be assured that a message has already been sent or a message has already been received at the receiver side. Right, so they have introduced the acknowledgement in order to get rid of this discrepancy that uh, message delivery status can be known by the sender, right? So after sending each frame, they will be sending a acknowledgement for the successful data frame, right? For all the successful data frame, the acknowledgements will be there. And if the acknowledgement is not coming back, it will be waiting for some amount of time for the acknowledgement, and then it will resend the particular frame. That is called multiple access collision avoidance for wireless LANs, right? So this is all about these protocols. Now we have one topic remaining in this chapter, which is Ethernet. So I'll think of what to do with the Ethernet. And today we are going to start the new chapter, data link layer. So there is only one topic which is remaining, Ethernet, right? शायद विधि मैम वीडियो अपलोड कर देगी इथरनेट के बारे में या फिर मैं अपलोड कर दूँगी, दोनों में से एक कोई वीडियो अपलोड कर देगा तो दोनों ही डिविजन्स में ये टॉपिक कवर हो जाएगा बिकॉज वी हैव टू कंप्लीट द सिलेबस क्विकली. So I am moving towards the data link layer. So is it clear with the multiple access collision avoidance and multiple access collision avoidance for wireless LANs? Yes or no? Is it clear? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
સાંભળો છો કે નહીં?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we are going to the next, I think the previous chapter, which is data link layer. So in your OSI layered model, at which stage your data link layer is there? Number of data link layer, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7, or you may have 8. બોલો ભાઈ ડેટા લિંક લેયરનું નંબર કયો છે?
નીચેથી બીજું.
Layer 2, ma'am.
Yes, it is a layer 2. So basically we have some design issue for the data link layer. What is the functionality of this? You may have studied in the introduction chapter. First of all, it needs to provide a well-defined service or interface to a network layer, right? Because it provides the service to the network layer. So first issue will be how to provide this service, right? Second, it deals with the transmission error, right? So second issue of network data link layer is dealing with the transmission errors, right? And third functionality that net data link layer does is flow control, right? So to regulate the flow of data is the third design issue of the data link layer, right? So what is a flow control? Whenever you consider a slow sender, slow receiver and a fast sender, you need to uh, keep track of the packets that are being received at the receiver side, because your receiver is so slow, right? So you have to buffer it somewhere. So this kind of flow control is the design issue of the data link layer. So now what is a packet and what is a frame? We know that at a network layer we have packets. Right. So if I consider sender side, your network layer packet will be a payload for the data link layer, right? So suppose this is a network layer and this is a data link layer. So your network layer packets will be the payload for the data link layer, and one header and one tailer will be, or you can say footer, will be added to it, and this will be considered as a data link layer frame. Same way, this frame will be received at the data link layer of the receiver side. Suppose this is a receiver. This frame will be received at the receiver side, and this header and the tailer will be removed, and packet will be there at the network layer. Right. So here after data link layer we have the physical layer, and here after data link layer we have the physical layer. So actual data transmission is going on to this physical layer to this physical layer, right? But as of now we will be considering it from this data link layer to this data link layer. So this is the sender's data link layer, this is the receiver's data link layer. So first of all, your data link layer does framing, right? So your message will be divided into some parts, and the parts will be called as framing. We know these are the frames, right? So there are some methods that the data link layer is using for this framing purpose. So there are four methods for the framing. First one is character count. Second method it is using is flag bytes with byte stuffing. Please pay attention because this is very important. And the third method is starting and ending frames with bit stuffing. And fourth one is physical layer coding violations. Right, so here first of all we are going to consider the first method, which is the character count. So as the name suggests, it will be counting the characters. Right. So suppose I have some characters in my frame, so let me create some data. So your first bit will be telling the particular count of the characters which you have in the frame. So suppose I am considering the framework, so let me write down the data in it. Right. So this bit will be telling me the number of bits, number of characters that I have in the frame. So 5 means that I have 5 characters in the frame 1. So if I consider the frame 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So there will be 5 characters. Right. And here, because I have first character 5, there will also be 5 characters in the frame 2, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So we have 5 characters in the frame 2. Now because I have 8 here, I will be having 8 characters in the frame 3. Right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Frame 3 will be consisting of 8 characters. So this is called character count, right? So first bit will be telling us that uh, how many number of characters do we have, right? First character will be announcing the number of characters in a particular frame. So by reading this first character, the receiver will know that yes, it is having 5 characters in this particular frame, right? And if there is any error, uh, there is no way to come out of that error, right? So let me show you the error. Suppose I have the error at this place. So let me take the eraser. Suppose I have an error at this place, right? So now the character value is changed from 5 to 7. Now receiver will consider 7 characters in this frame. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Right? So it will consider frame 2 from this to this. Right. So this is, first of all, this interpretation is erroneous, right? And now it will consider only one character in this frame. Right. So there is no way to recalculate this framing bits, right? So this method is no more in use. Right. So this is called character count. Now we have the second method, which is flag bytes with byte stuffing. So the second method of the framing gets around the problem of this resynchronization, because we were not able to resynchronize the frame after getting an error, right? So they are adding, in each frame there is a starting and ending bytes, right? So flag bytes with byte stuffing. So suppose I am having one payload and some header to it and some tailor to it. So this is my message, and before this message there will be a flag which will indicate the starting of the of the frame, and at the end it will be having one flag which will be indicating the ending of the frame, right? And if you have two consecutive flags, it will indicate this. The first flag will indicate the ending of the previous frame, and the second flag will indicate the starting of the next frame, right? So here there will be header, here there will be payload and some tailor and the ending flag, right? So there can be a chances that you have this flag into your payload, right, into your message. So if you have this flag inside the message, you can use the escape sequence or escape bit. Right. So if you have some characters, suppose some characters, and then you have a flag inside it, and then you have some characters. So this is B. So suppose this is your original message, and you are having this flag byte inside your message. You can consider some escape byte inside that. Right. So they have to stuff a escape bit in byte inside the message, and this flag will be considered as a part of the message, right? Because you have stuffed this escape byte into the message, right? So suppose if you have this escape byte inside a message, so this is a message, and inside it you have the escape byte, and then there is something, right? So to consider this escape byte as a part of message, you have to add one more escape byte inside it. Right? So there will be two escape bytes. So this will be ignored, this will be ignored, this will be considered as a message, this will be considered as a message, not a starting of a new frame. And suppose you have both your escape byte as well as your flag inside your message, you have to add escape byte for each of this, right? So this escape byte is for this one, and for flag also you have to insert one escape byte, and then there will be a flag, right? And B, right? So this will be ignored, this will be ignored, and this will be considered as a part of the message, right? And if you are having two escape bytes inside a message, you have to add escape byte for each of this, right? So this is added, so this will be ignored. This is a part of the message. Again, you have to add one stuff byte, and this will be ignored, and this is the part of the message and B. Right. So here to indicate the starting of the frame, you have to add a flag byte, and to indicate the ending of the frame, you have to add a flag byte, right? And if you are having a flag byte inside your message, you can add one escape byte inside it. Right. So this is called flag bytes with byte stuffing, right? Because you are stuffing some bytes inside the message. The third method that you have is starting and ending flags with bit stuffing. Right. So here, instead of using a single byte as a indicator of a starting and ending of a frame, there will be one flag, right? Suppose consider you have a special bit pattern which is 1 0 1 1 1 1 1 1. So you have 6 consecutive ones in this flag, right? Suppose this is my flag. So after this flag, it will indicate the starting of the frame, right? And same way, the same flag will be considering the ending of the frame, right? So if you want some same sequence inside the message, if I am having the same sequence inside a message, you have to stuff one bit after the fifth one, right? So let us take an example. If I have this input, okay, and suppose this is my message, right? So what will be the message inside a before the receiver receives the message, right? So when in a line, what will be the message, right? So first of all, you have to consider the starting and ending of the frame, so that I am not writing over here. The flag bit sequence is this, right? So to start the frame and end the frame, right? So you have to stuff some bits in order to get rid of the confusion that a particular frame is the starting or ending of the frame, right? So what you will be doing, you will be adding uh, 1 0 after each consecutive ones, each 5 consecutive ones, right? So here you have to stuff 1 0, here you have to stuff 1 0, and here you have to stuff 1 0, and then it will be same. So 3 zeros we have stopped, right? So this is called bit stuffing because you have stuffed only a single bit, right? So you have some starting and ending flags, and you are stuffing a bit which is a 0 whenever you have the similar pattern of the starting and ending flags, right? And these zeros will be ignored at the receiver side, and your message will be received as the same as A. So this was the third method, and now you have the fourth method, which is by physical layer coding violations. Right. So basically, what you have in at physical layer, you have the combinations of high, low, and low, high. Right. So whenever you consider the physical bits, the one bit of data will be considered of a two physical bits. So this is called high, right? So when you are going to consider high at physical layer, it will be considering this, right? So this is 1, right? And when you consider 0, this is called low, right? It will be also considering two physical bits, and it will be considered as 1. So there will always be a transition between this. So either it will be a high-low pair. So this is a high-low pair, and this is a low-high pair, right? So there will be a pair of either a high-low or a low-high. So this scheme means that every data bit has a transition in the middle, right? So this is making it easy for the receiver to locate the bit boundary. So if there is a combination of a high-high and low-low, uh, it is never used in the message bits, right? So this combination of a high-high or a low-low can be used to differentiate the frames, right? So for the same protocols, they will be using this type of violations, that it will be using some high-high pair and low-low pair to indicate whether the frame is starting or frame is ending, right? So nothing more is there. So these are the 4 techniques which are used for the framing at the data link layer. Right. So the first technique was character count, then you have flag bytes with byte stuffing, then you have starting and ending flags with bit stuffing, then you have physical layer coding violations. Right. Before that we have discussed wireless protocol for a wireless LAN, that is a multiple access for collision avoidance, and multiple access for collision avoidance for wireless LAN. Is it clear with all these topics? Take